All right. Good evening, everybody. I think we have, as we scroll through the screens of Zoom, everybody here, I think. Does anyone notice anyone missing? I don't see Jonathan Gordon, Councillor Gordon. Yep, there he is. Okay. We've got Veronica Darrell. Miss Hart.
She will be late. She won't be here until about 5:30.
Okay. I've been notified she will be late and she will get here at 5:30. And who are we missing? Anybody? That's it? All right. Very well. We'll call the Joint Friendship Agreement Committee meeting to order at 5 bells on the dot. This March 10th, 2021. All right. Amendments or additions to agenda. Do we have any?
May I make a recommendation?
Yes. Mayor Ruth is going to make a recommendation. I will unmute and you can mute up.
Okay, thank you. May I make a recommendation? Make a recommendation that we just switch the agenda just a little bit, gang, and that's moving the old business down after the new business, because 6.1 is the JFAC, which is part of our 6 o'clock meeting, number 2 on the agenda for our 6 o'clock meeting. And it will be a public decision and discussion at that point. So I'm wondering if that's acceptable to everybody, and just moving the new business, which is 7.1 and 7.2 in the agenda for the 5 to 6 fan type meeting.
Makes sense to me. Any problems, anyone? Good. Marconi says good. All right. That is a recommendation coming with the amendments for the agenda. So we'll take that as a motion to approve with additions.
Yes, please.
Okay. All in favor? Hands up high. Want to see you on the recording.
John.
Excellent. Thank you. And that's carried. John, would you like to speak? Oh, sorry. I think he's frozen. Nope, he's good. Cindy, you look frozen. Oh, you're good.
All right. I might go on and off. We have terrible internet out in Coupling Flats.
All right, sounds good. I'll give a pause for you. Okay, moving on. Agenda approval is done. Additions of the previous minutes of February 10th, 2021. They were attached in the agenda package. Any errors or omissions? Seeing no concern. Scrolling from screen to screen. No concerns. Can I get a motion to adopt those as presented, please? And that's Councillor Rabb. Any comments? Councillor Marconi, comment, or you're ready to vote in favor? I'm going to say in favor. All right. He gives us the thumbs up. There we go. It is so bizarre having so many screens on two setups here. Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. Delegations, we have none. And old business is moved down 1. So we're going to go straight to new business. 7.1, invitation to attend Black Diamond, March 17th, 2021 meeting, RE, the utility rate adjustment. And who would like to speak to this evening? To get the ball rolling, I'm just scrolling here.
Okay, I will, Barry.
Okay, Mayor Ruth is going to start, and Charlene, would you like to lead?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just going to say it's Black Diamond is going through a utility rate adjustment, hopefully starting for pending on council's decision. That'll be coming forward on the March 17th meeting for first reading. And I think Mayor Ruth and Black Diamond Council wanted to know if the folks from Turner Valley would like to attend as well to hear why we're doing this.
So the request from the Black Diamond Council was to include the Turner Valley Council through this conversation that we're having with our consultants, because we had requested 2 years ago to reevaluate where we stand with regards to water and sewer, our utility rates, making sure that we're making adjustments in a timely manner for future costs, et cetera. Looking at the future and the possibility of the amalgamation decision coming forward in September, feeling that it was appropriate to include Turner Valley so that potentially moving into the coming year, we may be in alignment with regards to our rates and our structure. So we thought that we would invite you to attend. And it's just an invitation not to participate, of course, at the council table, but to attend, to hear the information for the first time, as well as our general public, and quite potentially bringing it back to JFAC in April to discuss if you would like to, and if it's something that interests you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Waring, then Councillor Rabb.
Ruth, what time's the meeting?
Our meetings, it's a daytime meeting, and it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, I would like to go.
Okay. 17th at 9 a.m., just for council's knowledge. I've got Rabb, then Wilkie.
Thanks, Mayor Crane. I think you actually missed Councillor Holiday. I think she might have had her hand up before me, but either way, I had two questions. John asked one, what time? Other one was, do we have to wear green?
You know what?
I'd be interested going, actually.
I'm glad you answered that yourself, Gary.
Yeah. Okay. I've got two councillors so far going. They'll both be wearing green. I got Hamilton, Holiday. Rabb says, now, Rabb, did you get it right? Was it Holiday or Hamilton? Because it's very important you get this correct.
This would be Councillor Holiday.
Okay, so it's going to go Holiday, then Wilkie, then Hamilton.
The
other Holiday. Okay, Holiday, you're up.
Thanks for the care and concern and making sure that was correct, you guys. It was awesome. I would love to attend. Just wondering who you're using as a consultant. I know we just went through this process last year with MPE for our utility rate bylaw, and it was a whole lot of reading. So just wondering who you guys are using.
It's Urban System.
Okay, and do you know if they've looked at what we did last year on ours, or?
I have. I'm going by recollection, and I believe that question was asked, and they said yes.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Holiday, you have to wear green. Wilkie.
Councillor Holiday stole my question, so I'll dial in if I'm able, for sure. So, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, our agendas are published Friday after 4 p.m. So that agenda information, which contains any presentation information, we have ensured that it will be sent on to your administration to pass along to you guys so that you've got something to read, and any questions that you may have, if you don't mind redirecting them through administration to make sure that we address all of your questions.
Cool. Hamilton?
I was going to ask the same question as Cindy as well. So daytime meetings might be really tricky for me. I am back at work, but if I can dial in, I will try my best to do so. Thanks for the invitation, guys.
Awesome. And Councillor Gordon, you're probably in the same boat, I imagine, in terms of work.
Yeah, I won't be able to get away daytime meeting, sorry. I will read the agenda, my promise.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thompson, you had comment?
Just to give Black Diamond Council a heads up, our utility rate is review is to be completed in the first quarter as well. So it'll be very good to see if we can start aligning some of this.
Can everyone hear Heather?
Oh, probably because I didn't have my mic on.
Yeah. We got a little bit of technical issues, so we got to watch out. We don't have two open at the same time. So Heather, I'll let you. All right, thank you for that. And you can mute again. Yep, perfect. Okay. All right. So I've got Waring, Rab, and Holiday will look to attend. They will wear green. Wilkie will try and dial in, as well as Hamilton if she can. Gordon is busy, but promises to read. And I, being a scrambled egg and in every direction, we'll see where I'm at on that day. I might make it. I might not. I will commit to nothing. However, I am interested and intrigued and appreciate the invite, because I think this is a place where we can align and have some common grounds for our water utilities. Mr. Marconi, I see your microphone is off, so would you like to ask a question? Or is it just off just because? Okay. As long as you're silent, hey, I'm good. All right, sounds good. Okay, well, I guess that's that then. So there you have it. We have some numbers moving forward for you. Next item, Amalgamation Funding 7.2, general discussion. All right, and who would like to speak to this to start?
I will again, Barry.
Mayor Ruth will take the floor.
Thank you. So it is at the request of the Black Diamond Council that we have this discussion, and it's with regards to the cost of the discussion and meetings that we're having, everything concerning amalgamation. And so it's just, we would just like to have a general discussion about whether or not this is the time to provide the public with the total cost incurred in the past and current, and potentially keeping it up to date, a running tally per se, with regards to the cost of the discussion of amalgamation. And currently, that information has appeared in council meetings with regards to the cost of consultants. It has also appeared on council timesheets. So the request again is to discuss whether or not there is an appetite to provide additional information on our websites as a running tally of the cost of this discussion currently, plus any past discussions and I don't know, it's the past work, I guess, done with regards to amalgamation. And I believe that we have two Black Diamond councillors that would like to speak to this. So it would be Councillor Marconi and Councillor Bain. If either of you two would like to start the conversation to maybe expand upon the ask.
Thank you, Mayor Ruth. We'll go Councillor Bain to begin. He beat you to it, Marconi. Sorry, buddy. Okay, floor is yours, Ted.
Since we're spending public money, I feel that it is important for the public to know how much we are spending. Not only that, where is it coming from? Especially if we are counting on grants that we may not receive, then it's going to come right out of the tax base. It's going to be coming from reserves. These are things that the public is entitled to know, and I feel that we should be letting them know. That's the basics of it. How much is it costing? What have we applied for? What do we have in the bank? What grants were we counting on that aren't available anymore because of budget cuts? If there are any grants like that, I don't know. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Comment from Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. I appreciate the concern. As part of the finance subcommittee for JFAC, this absolutely was addressed when we came up with our terms and what we're going to be looking at. We don't have our next meeting until the end of March, but at that time, that was one of our major recommendations, was to understand what amalgamation will cost residents and what the potential savings, both short-term and long-term, will be for amalgamation. So until we get that information, I think this discussion is a little bit preliminary, important, but really we're waiting for administration to come back with that. But it was one area that absolutely the finance subcommittee addressed as important for people. So we're really just waiting for our admin to do the work and come back with that. So hopefully by next FAM meeting, we'll be good.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Holiday, for clarifying that. Marconi, over to you.
Councillor Bain more or less summed up my comments too, so there's not much to add. Councillor Holiday is correct. It is on the Finance Committee's agenda. However, we are incurring expenses now, and we should, as Councillor Bain said, we should be transparent and start showing those costs. The public wants to know what's being incurred now, not a total package, but it's ongoing. They know there's a consultant that's being hired for X. They know that we've been having these meetings and it's costing the council's budgets accordingly. And even in our budgets, it's all split out. So it's not secretive by any means, but maybe we start the ball rolling by just showing what our current costs are. That's all.
Yeah, I know we post our timesheets, everything we accrue in committees every month. So if anyone wants to check on what I bill for as mayor, they can check that out, and any other councillor as well. So all that information, we have it transparently available to the public at any time. So, but I guess you're looking just for a running tally, something to that nature. So might be something to do on a Saturday night, eh?
Yes, I've got no other time available, but Sunday midnight I do. Yeah, just a running tally of what's going on, But yes, you're right. They can go onto the website and they can go through 7 timesheets and do this and do that. But let's make it easy for them. It's easy to pull that information out both sides because the codes. Boom, here it is. Here's the running tally. Here's what's being spent today. Here's what the consultant has cost us to date. Here's what the budget is. That kind of stuff.
Right on. Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, just to follow up, so I'm sure with Brian's comment, we do normally have a number of meetings anyways, and if we're discussing something like, we spend a lot of time on recycle, which is an amalgamation, but technically, if we weren't talking about amalgamation, we still would have had a meeting on recycle. So it kind of gets a little bit dicey as to what totally amalgamation costs and what would have happened anyways, with our FAM. But I think we can do our best when we see the information to try and make it clear for residents.
Excellent. Thank you. I believe I've got Bain and Wilkie. That's who I'm seeing right now. So we're going to go Bain and Wilkie.
When we look at the 2017 amalgamation study, one of the most important things that citizens were concerned with is what's going to happen with my taxes in effect, and what's going to cost, what the services are going to cost, sorry. And we're going to look rather silly when on the first kickoff, people ask the question that is foremost in their mind. And we're going to have to say, well, gee, we don't know how much it's cost so far. And gee, we haven't tried to figure out how much the budget's going to, and no, we don't even have a budget for this. We're going to look rather incompetent. Almost every study that I have read on amalgamation, the most serious concerns of all of the citizens has been how much it's going to cost. So the sooner we get this information out to them, the better.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Wilkie.
Yeah, I can agree with the transparency. Absolutely. The having a running tally that's there sitting, great. I think no opposition to that. I do have. I would want to make sure that we're, I guess, segregating some of this appropriately, right? There's a question of what's sunk, what's previous work, what's current work, what's going on right now. So I think breaking it down by some time periods would be helpful in that regard. And I share the concern about how do you actually allocate time in a FAM meeting, but absolutely, I think the goal is something that makes a ton of sense.
Okay, thank you. And I've got Councillor Rabb and then
thank you.
Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Mayor, or pardon me, Councillor Bain. I agree with you that we do need to be transparent, and I think that I have no problem with that. I would like to follow up with something Councillor Halliday said, and that is, like, we were supposed to have our JFAC Amalgamation Finance meeting already, but it didn't happen. It got moved back. So when we do that, that would be the time to deal with that very issue, Ted, and I'd be quite willing to put that forward. And I'm sure that Councillor Marconi, Councillor Halliday would do the same. So that would be maybe a way to discuss it at that time. How does that sound? And I think I'm missing Councillor Stickle as well. So for finances. So that's a good point. I think it makes sense to me, Ted, and I think we can discuss that at our meeting in a couple of weeks. Does that sound fair?
Just a thumbs up is good.
Oh, too late. I've already unmuted myself, so I want to hear myself speak. If that's the way it has to be, that's the way it has to be. I mean, there's not too much that you can do about it now. Perhaps I should have raised the point earlier, or someone else should have raised the point earlier, but that's all water under the Sheep River Bridge right now. So do what you got to do.
All right. Thank you, Ted. Okay, just so everyone knows, I've got Hamilton, Gordon, Ruth, Wilkie, Holiday. Okay, so there you go. So we're going to Hamilton.
Thanks. I just wanted to comment on Ted's point, which I thought was a really good one. Having this information available before our first public engagement, I think, would be very helpful. Now, the timeline between the finance meeting and the first public engagement kickoff, I'm not sure how much time is in between there, but maybe we could ask administration if it would be possible to have that for this meeting, because I do agree that it would be nice to be able to have that transparency and be able to show the resident, A, the grants that we received for this process, and B, how much it's cost so far. So I definitely agree with where you're going with it. It would be nice to have it for that engagement, but I'd love to hear from administration to see if that's possible.
You want that now, Heather?
No.
Okay, Heather will respond right now, and then we'll follow my order again. Okay, Heather?
So I think finance staff or anyone that works in finance is pretty pushed to the limit currently, doing audit and actually preparing a report for the subcommittee. And I can't speak on behalf of Corrine because she's not here at this time. I don't know that on the Turner Valley side, we could have that information prepared speedily.
Okay, so if you didn't hear Heather, just because the microphones here are a little bit iffy right now, very, very busy time in finance, and just making sure that it might be tight to have that available for the end of the month for the first kickoff, but more to follow. And the finance committee will find that out on 24th. Charlene, would you like to comment as well as admin?
Yeah, and I was just going to say in regards to this, totally agree with what Heather's saying. Finance right now, we're in the middle of audit. You guys, Turner Valley's got some stuff going on. I believe you've been doing audit as well as preparing reports. To have that information, we can talk about it at Finance Committee. Highly unlikely that there would be a tally of accounting for your first public engagement due to staffing capacity.
Okay, thank you. All right. Hamilton's addressed. Moving to Gordon, then Ruth, Wilkie, then Holiday. Gordon, you're up.
Yeah, I actually was going to mention exactly what Councillor Hamilton did. I fully support having at least an estimate of what we've invested so far by the time we have a first public relation. I totally agree with Councillor Bain's recommendation that we have a consistent ongoing calculation. I think the side that the public needs to know that is a good thing, but also us as councillors, it helps us to keep in check as well to make sure we're investing this and moving things forward in a timely fashion.
Okay, thank you. So another motion of support there. Mayor Ruth, you're up.
Thanks very much, Mayor Crane. Just with regards to the conversation that we're currently discussing, talking about the Finance Committee and the recommendations, if we're going to continue, guys, in supporting the process that we have in place, we have heard this evening that, in fact, this conversation has occurred at the Finance Committee level. And I believe that at this point, that is a recommendation that should be coming forward from the Finance Committee. And they will know because they will be discussing with staff as to when we will be able to implement this. And I'm hoping possibly in April, if not the beginning in May. The discussion and I guess the verbiage that's being used with regards to transparency. Again, this information has been contained and openly discussed at council levels, and the documentation is available at any time. Consolidating all of this information, providing additional information, absolutely cool. I have no problem with that because I think that in the future, being able to document this will also help other communities that may be looking at amalgamating, understanding what the expenses and the time is. One thing that we have discussed at council level in Black Diamond is how to allocate the cost of staff timing. Charlene, I'm wondering if you can address that, please.
Mayor Ruth, can you please explain what you would like me to address? You know, the amount of time that we're recording for our meetings and that we're tracking and exempting our time out for this purpose?
But how are we going to go back in time, I guess, Charlene, to be able to document and record the amount of time that staff has spent? Because again, we're allocating staff time to the amalgamation discussion.
Yeah, I think from a meeting perspective, I think we were okay to be able to address that. The work that is being dedicated to the subcommittees isn't quite as easy to track at this time. Or starting in January, we were able to track it a little bit better, but there's still a little bit here and a little bit there. So when you answer a phone call, is it 15 minutes? Is it half an hour towards that? The meetings are easy to track. So we're able to track the meetings as far as staff time goes, but the writing of the report and the subsequent research and background information is a little bit harder, and we're just trying to get a handle on that.
Okay. And again, just identifying that it will be an estimate of cost, that it is not real cost. So as long as people understand that more than likely the amount that they will see and the tallies that they will see are just restrictive to the amount that we see on timesheets or that we've already calculated. That's my only point. Thanks very much.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mayor Ruth. Did you want to respond to that, Hamilton, or you want to get in queue? Okay, response, go ahead.
And you got Lana's hand up.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get in the queue. I can wait my turn.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll wait my turn.
Wilkie, Holiday, then Hamilton. Wilkie, you're up.
Yeah, my big thing is I think there's no question this will come up during the consultation session. So I think we just, regardless of what information is available by that time, we need a way to address that question in some way. And I don't know if that's estimated numbers or if that's pointing towards documentation, but there needs to be something available, I think, in the event that somebody asks it. We want to be as proactive as we can, getting ahead of some of those questions. That's all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Holiday.
Yeah, I think administration's answered mine pretty good, but I just want to mention, I think if the better we communicate what Ruth just said, that this is still a process and that we're following, we don't have to have all the answers because it's a process and we're still working on things. Because on the one hand, we get slammed if we're going too fast and everything's already decided before we talk to people, that yet on the other hand, we don't have enough information. Like there's a balance and people just need to understand nothing's decided and we're still working and we're still very early in on this process. So.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I totally agree. We gotta keep it moving along and let people know that. I have Hamilton.
My question was just in response to Charlene's comments about tracking staff time, and it kind of piqued my interest. I'm just wondering to what level granularly we're planning on reporting on, because staff time, I'm wondering, like, does that not fall into day-to-day operations, like the staff time that is committed to, amalgamation versus operations versus, like, that's in day-to-day operations. So I'm just wondering, are we reporting that cost as well as meeting cost as well? Like, I'm just wondering how far down we're planning on going.
Would that be something that the Finance Committee would look at? I wonder, Councillor Hamilton?
Yeah, sure. It makes total sense for me, but I think that the Finance Department should have, or the Finance Committee should have clarification on what granular level they're reporting on. And the reason that I ask that is because those costs, like, for example, and maybe I don't understand how things work and someone can definitely put me in my place, but the cost for employee A, for example, they're on the budget for a salary of X. Well, that time that they spend in a day, it goes probably to 15 different places. And that employee's expense is going to exist regardless of amalgamation. So I'm just wondering how, because Charlene had said minute or time spent preparing minutes and things like that. So I wanted clarification on how far we were going down, because those costs exist regardless if we're having this amalgamation discussion or not. Those employees are on our payroll regardless. And this, to me, those costs in my head are day-to-day operations costs.
Yeah, I see the rabbit hole you're worried about there. Charlene, you had your hand up. I think you wanted to respond to that.
Yeah, I was just going through the scope and some of the pieces of the JFAC updates from the Finance Committee. And I will have to say, it's not clearly indicated in the scope that this is what we're going to be presenting on, as far as the the reporting goes. So this is over and above the scope of work which the Finance Committee is working on. It has been a conversation, I will agree, but it has not been something that's been listed as part of one of the scope documents. And if council wants us to be able to do that, we do need to have clear direction on the granular levels. As Councillor Hamilton had put it, what does council want us to report on? Because exempting our time out for this purpose, and it's basically for the purpose of amalgamation is how you would exempt that time. And I think that we need to wrap our heads around that and around how do we track it. It's easy to track meetings. It's not so easy to track picking up the phone. Hi, Heather, this is in the procedural document. We need to do something on this. You want to send me an email? Hang up. Heather sends an email. And that's not necessarily part of our day-to-day regular activities. I would disagree because this is over and above. We've had Black Diamond Council and just as Turner Valley has put other things on hold for the purposes of this project. I believe that councils have had that conversation. So but it doesn't mean the total operations are stopped. So I don't know how to explain that more thoroughly.
So can I speak to that?
I've got Ruth, and then I have Hamilton. Mayor Goodwin, I'm just scanning. And welcome, Councillor Hart. Good to see you. All right, Mayor Ruth is up, and then Hamilton.
If you don't mind, Barry, I'm going to ask you to go to Lana first.
Sure. Councillor Hamilton, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. No, I understand and appreciate what you're saying, Charlene, that there is a cost in time to proceed with amalgamation, that we have to say, okay, this project maybe is going to wait a little bit because this time and energy needs to be directed in this direction. So I completely understand what you're saying there, but I think reporting that as a cost is not necessarily fair, because those costs are going to continue to the community regardless. It's not like if we don't proceed with amalgamation, that money goes back to those hours or that time doesn't get charged back to the taxpayer, because it still does. It's not a true cost, because it exists either way, whether we continue with these discussions or not. We haven't increased our staffing to go through this at this point. We haven't done that. If we brought somebody on to handle these things, then I could completely understand that salary or that wage being tagged or contributed as a cost of the amalgamation. But if we are going to segregate certain time or certain hours that staff are putting towards this in a summary of what amalgamation is costing, I don't think that is fair, because that money or that time doesn't become a cost saving to the resident if we don't proceed. Like those staff hours will just be directed to a different project. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Salary. It does. It does to me. A salary is a salary. The efforts of the communities are moving forward in collaboration and partnerships anyway. So this work would be done, and we just happen to have the heading amalgamation on it. And so look at there.
Project. Amalgamation is the project. The project could be water looping. The project could be Sunset Boulevard. The project, it could be a bunch of different things. But the staff time would just be directed somewhere else if it wasn't directed here. So to me, it can't be recorded as a true cost, because that cost isn't going to go away. Those hours would be spent somewhere else.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go Mayor Ruth. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, Mayor Ruth's good.
Yeah, and then just to reiterate on Charlene's comment with regards to what has been put on hold, and we have a strategic plan in place. Our staff and council have been fairly good at keeping pace with the yearly, quarterly updates and making sure that we're staying on track. And what Charlene is expressing to everybody here is that we have now placed amalgamation as a priority project for this time. So our expectations from our staff member is that there will be a delay on, or potentially non-delivery of those items that were in Q1 to Q3 as an example in 2021. And yes, it does not mean that the operations and the day-to-day activities are put on hold or sacrificed for the amalgamation discussion. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And I did receive a message from Steph saying that they have added clarity that they can add to this discussion. But of course, they're not in this meeting. They're just waiting in the queue for the next one. But in reference to subcommittees, they have some enlightening information there as well. So we might have a rehash of this later. You never know. Okay, so let me just double check here. So we're still on amalgamation funding, and everyone has had their kick at the cat, as it were. Is anyone else got a burning desire to talk? Oh, there is a cat on the screen too. Look at Daryl's.
And Jackie
would like to go.
They're dancing. They're doing the wave dance.
I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I think that there needs to be some kind of costing out of employees, but I think if an employee is given a specific project to work on something that a subcommittee wants, that actually has to belong to amalgamation. If it's 1 or 2 phone calls a week, absolutely not. I think there needs to be a breakdown or an understanding of where that cut line is. Does that make sense, Lana?
Do you want me to respond? It does. I understand where you're coming from, but to me, I don't think it's a fair cost because we have not increased staffing or increased the cost to the taxpayer at this point in regards to staff hours. If we hire staff or bring staff on to help with the workload or the burden that staff are feeling, then yes, I could 100% agree that that cost is now a new cost to the taxpayer and should be reported as a cost to amalgamation. Where I'm having trouble seeing that it's blurry, and maybe it's an internal thing too. Like I know we track how much a project costs internally, just so we know how much staff time is being allocated to it. That I can completely get behind, but I wouldn't want to report that as a part of the cost to the taxpayer because they're paying that cost regardless, right? Like that salaries, wages, and benefits line on the budget is not changing. It's the same. So that's where I'm blurry. Like if we would like to know how much of our administrative time, and maybe that is a very good thing, we should know how much time we're allocating to it, then that's one thing. But I don't think it should be reported as a cost because it's already included in the budget and it's already reported to the taxpayer in that line item.
Thank you, Hamilton. Charlene.
So maybe it was just if we go and we track the number of hours versus the amount of dollars, saying, staff time have taken, 36 hours within this time period. That's only an hourly time. It's not attached to a wage. Would that be sufficient?
Heather will respond to that one. And then I believe I have Lalonde after that.
Sure. I think
Again, I would say maybe something that the Finance Committee looks at. As Charlene mentioned earlier, it's not covered under the scope right now, but if it's going to be a discussion there, then you guys can get down into those levels of what is and what isn't going to be considered, if that's where the group wants to go. I think there's a consensus that there should be a tracking of some nature, as Ted has pointed out. There's definitely an agreement there that we should have a running tally. And I think what we're going to do, or I know I can, is when I get the timesheets at the end of this month, I can quickly calculate for administration. Here's council's hours in subcommittee. And that's already done. It'll be quick and easy. And then the other things are tracking. So if subcommittee for finance touches on that and comes up with what they think is appropriate, it'd be great to hear at the next meeting. But I think there's definitely an agreement that some form of tracking needs to take place. What level and what detail, yet to be determined. So, does that sound about right to everyone? I'll take some thumbs up. Daryl, would you like to comment? I got enough thumbs that I'm good. I'm happy. Lalonde is good. Okay. In that case, we will leave it to the Finance Committee to do a little power play on and come back with some recommendations, and we can have another debate at that time. Let me just check mark that. Okay, moving to old business then, which would have been the 6.1, the procedural subcommittee request for decision.
So are we going to take a break until 6?
So we're going to bring that into the open portion of the 6, or are we going to finish it off?
Why are we taking this?
Because it's a JFAC.
Well, we've, sorry, Gary, hold on.
She included in an open portion of the meeting.
Oh, hold on. I've blinked out.
I would double check with them.
Okay, no, we can hold it here and have the discussion. We've got 15 minutes.
The procedure subcommittee request for decision is to be discussed in open portion. Can you confirm that, Steph?
Steph or Lauren? 6.1 of our procedural subcommittee request for decision.
Yes. So
yes, there you are. Thank you. Could you comment on that? Is that to be included at this portion and discussed and moved here?
That's correct. Recommendations coming from the subcommittee are to be discussed in your regular sessions. And so, you know, if you want to take a break now or what that looks like, but it would be an open session.
Well, it's in open session now, so we can continue now. So 6.1, procedural subcommittee request for decision. So this is the procedural subcommittee recommendations. Provided on behalf of Charlene, Town of Black Diamond, and Heather Thompson, Acting CEO, Turner Valley. I'm just going down here. Findings, proposed resolution. Who can speak to this right off the get-go here? Steph, could you bring us into this? I'm just... Stephanie is? Okay. Charlene? Sorry,
will be presenting.
I'm looking at all the screens. Go ahead, Charlene.
Hi there. Thank you, Mayor Crane. So this will be the first piece of a report coming back from one of the subcommittees that will be actually making it into the application. So JFAC does have to make a decision on this, and so that we can record that and put it as part of the application portion of it. This report addresses 4 of the 9 scoped procedure subcommittee topics. These recommendations are brought forward with the full consensus of the subcommittee members. The subcommittee itself has the bylaws and resolutions. So of the 4 topics, bylaws and resolutions of the existing municipalities, the first election, the Interim Council, and the ICF extension. The committee has gone through the bylaw key. There's a key for bylaws and all of our policies. They've reviewed those. The decision of this, or the procedure committee is recommending that JFAC support the deferring of the updating of bylaws and resolutions to post-amalgamation, and that JFAC direct administration to inventory the bylaws and resolutions to determine priorities for alignment in the pre-amalgamation timeframe. So the pre-amalgamation timeframe is the time between the time that the application is submitted and the incorporation date. The timeline of this task is dependent on administrative capacity, but is but we're expected to have this done before September of 2021. Sorry about that. It will be completed before September of 2021. So it'll be a summertime project.
Okay, and just so people can follow along, that's B?
B, yeah. That's the recommendation. Is everybody okay so far?
Yeah, walk us right through and then we'll come back and then we'll clarify anything.
Okay. So the rationale, there's quite a few different bylaws and policies that the group that admin has to go through. So all the bylaws, policies, resolutions of the existing municipalities will continue to be in effect for the amalgamated municipality until the new municipality council repeals or replaces those bylaws. We have worked on collaborative bylaws for many years already, and so many of them are similar. They have a little nuances here and there that need to be changed out, but that's what is going to be determined by the administrative staff. Administration resources will be required to inventory the bylaws and resolutions and to determine the priorities. Again, this work will be accomplished within the existing budget at a time when capacity is available, and it's anticipated to be completed by September of 2021. Okay. Public participation will be at an informed level. So on your continuum of your IPI, I gotta get my acronym right, but your continuum of public participation, it will be at the informed level. Okay. Will occur with the recommendation. It will be included in the public information paper and the associated communications. We're all good with that?
Okay, councils, everything looking pretty clear so far? Anybody looking for any clarification? Daryl's thumbs up. So, okay, let's keep going.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. We got Deputy Mayor Wilkie has a comment, and John?
He's got his thumbs up.
His thumbs up. Okay, Wilkie, go ahead.
Just a quick question. So the recommendation, I just want to understand it clearly. Mm-hmm. The JFAC supports deferring the update of bylaws and resolutions to post-amalgamation. I know there's been some discussion in other committees about alignment activities prior to amalgamation. I think I just looking for clarity, are we saying that that's not going to proceed with this recommendation, or we can kind of chip away at things as time allows? Okay.
Heather will answer that one.
Actually, two portions of the recommendation to me.
Did you get your question, Councillor Wilkie? Okay. Councillor Gordon, you have a question?
Yeah, I think and I understand there's two parts to this. It's a follow-up to Councillor Wilkie question, because part 2 of the recommendation talks about creating an inventory of the bylaws to determine the priorities for alignment. Mm-hmm. So does that alignment of the bylaws happen between the application and September 2021? Or is it just the inventory of the bylaw? Those are two different things.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charlene. And then I have Paul.
So currently each municipality has an inventory of their bylaws. What needs to be done is a consolidation and a priority list of those bylaws need to be put together. The ones that need to be changed prior to January 1st, 2023, which is the proposed incorporation date, will be the ones that get highest priority for alignment. Mm-hmm. Does that answer the question?
Perfectly.
Heather, do you have anything to add to that?
No. Agreed.
She says you're perfect. Holiday.
Yeah, I guess for me, the confusing part is when you say 1, it sounds like we're not doing anything with it until after amalgamation. And then 2, you're saying that we're going to inventory and start working at it in the pre-amalgamation period. So they seem to be conflicting, like having 1 and 2.
So I'm not sure who. Okay, Stephanie, do you want to?
Sure. So
yes,
for clarity, for the application, the recommendation really focuses on the fact that at this point in time, it is deferring the update to post-amalgamation. Between now and September, the subcommittee just asked for a quick inventory of bylaws to really understand like where you would stand once the application goes in. But this direction, should you decide to move forward with it as JFAC, is not providing direction to make those alignment changes. You would need to have a conversation
when you have the inventory to make it official that you just choose to move forward with any of those pieces. It's not stopping you from doing those things at that point, but it's not required for the application. What it's saying is that the majority of the intent here is that bylaws could be aligned post-amalgamation. If in the next 18 months to 2 years, you decide as two municipalities that you want to continue to do alignment work, you would choose to have that conversation and make a decision on it subsequently. So this is not an official decision to do that.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. I've got Marconi up here. So we're going to go to Marconi.
Yeah, just for clarity. So from September 2021 to January 1st, 2023, there is the ability to then work on some of these bylaws accordingly. Just for clarity, so we could go forward on some of them if time prevails. The 100%
idea here is we prioritize the list and the inventory from now until this September. Then after the letter is sent in or is not sent in, or if it's a move forward, then we have it compiled and a priority list is made. And in that next 14 months or so on, we try and align some of those bylaws pre-amalgamation date. So it's all about inventory and prioritizing, but not pushing more work onto administration because it's not a mandatory requirement. We just need to say what we're doing. Charlene.
Yeah, maybe just to provide some clarity around that. Until councils make a decision to put forward the application, we can align. We're not going to go down the path in creating enough work for us to align bylaws. Once the application goes forward, at that point in time, we can start the work on aligning some of those bylaws. So there's some of the pieces around emergency management that could be possibly done. There's some of the pieces around, maybe water and utility rates that could be aligned, brought more into alignment. Water conservation bylaws can be brought more into alignment. Those types of things can occur. But until the application is ready to go forward, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to be able to move bylaws because they take a long time. Just saying, there's a lot of research that needs to go into them. There's a lot of work that needs to go into creation of bylaws. To go through that whole piece in aligning them needs to happen after the application actually gets submitted. I just need to put it in some sort of clarity around that.
Yeah, righto. In the effort of time, I've got Hamilton and Waring and a follow-up by Marconi. So we're going to end up rolling into or past our 6 o'clock timeline here, but we're going to give the floor back to Charlene. So Hamilton, Waring, Marconi. Let's go with that, and then we'll go back to Charlene to continue on through the list. Hamilton.
I'm good. Someone else can go. All I was going to say is that the main reasoning or the justification, I guess, was when we learned at the committee that all of the existing bylaws, all of those Turner Valley's bylaws, Black Diamond's bylaws, in effect until such time that they're repealed. So there's not a rush or an urgency either. So we can keep doing as we have been doing and aligning.
Absolutely.
Basically, we don't want to do anything that's not necessary to be done prior to putting the submission into the government. And there's no point in spending a whole hell of a lot of time and effort to do things that might not be necessary, that can be done later. And as Lana just said, all the bylaws are fully in stay live after the amalgamation date until such time as they're put together. And it makes no sense to try and do that before the amalgamation date. I mean, in my opinion, you don't even want to do it after you send the letter in because they might come back and say no. So anyway, that's by the by.
Yeah. Okay. Marconi, and then Charlene, you can finish the presentation.
Okay. The question's been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chair Crane, could I suggest you put the motion on the table for this item and then go to the next?
Yes. Can I get a motion?
There's two here.
Yeah, there's two. So can I get two motions, please? Recommendations are 1 and 2, the JFAC support deferring the update of bylaws and resolutions to post-amalgamation, and JFAC direct administration to inventory bylaws and resolutions to determine priorities for alignment in the pre-amalgamation timeframe. The timeframe or timeline for this task is dependent on administrative capacity, but is expected to be completed by September 2021. Who just read that? Cindy Holiday, Councillor Holiday, followed by Jackie. Excellent. Motion is on the floor. Any questions? I think that debate clarified the whole thing. All in favor?
So which one are we voting on?
Both go forward. Thank you. That is carried. They're both recommendations. Holiday.
Unanimously? That was unanimous, was it not?
I missed one hand because of screens, but it's fully good. Yeah, we're good. We're carried. Okay, moving on. Ms. Charlene.
So the second motion that needs to come forward, that JFAC direct administration to inventory the bylaws and resolutions to determine priorities for alignment in the pre-amalgamation timeframe.
Jackie made that one.
Thank you.
I wanted to call it both in one, but that's good. Any discussion on that one? Seeing and hearing none. All in favor, hands high for the recording. And I see that unanimously.
I don't see Sharon.
I see Sharon. Sharon is good. Thank you. That's carried. Rab, you were up, eh? Don't you be asleep. Okay.
Okay, so again, from the procedural committee, the proposed options on the first election is the proposed amalgamation application will recommend that the first election for the amalgamated municipality should occur in Q4 of 2022. The proposed amalgamation application will recommend that the first election for the amalgamated community so there's two options. You either have it in Q4 of 2022 or you have it in Q1 of 2023 for that new incorporated municipality. So the procedural committee is recommending that council consider. Do you have a question?
No, I was just recognizing a hand, so Waring is up first.
I was going to give a motion, sorry.
That's great, Charlene. We'll take a motion if you don't mind.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Councillor Waring.
The proposed amalgamation application shall be the first election for the amalgamated municipality occur in Q4 2022.
Okay, thank you. Discussion on that and rationale. Why don't you start off, Councillor Waring, as you are the maker of the motion.
Basically, by doing this, you just have the one election. You also have a period after that election where the people who've been elected can get up to speed, and then before they take over on the 1st of January. Then there's no interim council in effect. You've just got the two councils continuing till the end of the year. And then the new council, as I said, would be getting up to speed, and then they take over on the 1st of January.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Discussion? Veronica, you're getting fidgety. Would you like to comment?
My dinner's ready. No, I think Q4 would keep it in an October, November timeframe that people are used to. I think Q4 is fine.
Yeah. Subcommittee thought the same thing, that it makes sense that a new council would then come in and sit into the new seat and carry on. I'm screening, I'm sliding, I'm seeing none. All in favor of the motion? Hands high.
You see Jamie?
I see everyone. Jonathan too. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much.
You saw Jamie? Oh, there we go.
Yep, all good. Okay, Charlene, moving on to interim council, I believe.
So just in light of that last conversation that everybody just had, should the proposed amalgamation proceed with the first election in Q4 of 2022, no interim council will be required. And if there's a motion on that, it just makes sense because it follows that whole last conversation we just had.
Okay, so you want a motion to that effect?
Yes, please.
Just to state that? All right. Councillor Bain? Where'd he go? Did he? Where'd you go, Ted?
Okay, there.
Oh, there you are.
Damn technology. Oops, I didn't say that. Should the amalgamation application proceed with a first election in Q4 of 2022, no interim council will be required. I have nothing further to say. It is a good recommendation, a good resolution.
Excellent. All in favor? Vote. Rab, you want to talk? No, you want to vote.
Yeah, just for clarity, I assume then that the two councils that are elected this fall will be dissolved as of the end of December in 2022. Is that correct?
That is what would happen.
Thank you.
So we're going to just vote just to make sure. Jackie, I know what you're saying. It's just prior to, it's in the last quarter. It could be earlier than December. I know what you're saying with your head wink. We're going to vote again just for clarity.
If I may, Mayor Crane?
Yes, go ahead,
if I may. I think all of that depends on the order of council that is signed off by the minister. It is not necessarily your decision because the minister will put forward that order in council.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. We're going to vote again just so we have it all clear because Rab screwed it all up for wanting to comment. All in favor of Ted Bain's motion?
Fine.
And that's carried. Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Daryl had his hand up before the vote a couple of times, was waving. I'm not sure if he still has comment, but I don't think you saw.
All right. Councillor Lalonde.
Thank you, Joanna. I was just going to make a comment regarding that. I don't think there's going to be all that much room to have 3 sitting councils. If you had an election on October 1st, they're not going to permit that. So the dates are going to have to be a little closer together to the end, etc. So you only have the 2 or the 1 rather. So they will have to be dissolved before you have a new council.
Yeah, as Charlene said, that'll be that order in council from the minister. Yeah. Steph, comment?
Yeah, and Linda, if you want to correct me, but what will happen is that the election will occur in Q4 of 2022, and though they will not actually come into power until January 1st, 2023, the date that you're incorporated. So it will happen in advance with some pre-time, but that the actual date of their term would start on January 1st, dependent upon the order in council and what the provinces determines.
That's right. Okay, thank you for clarifying. And Linda gave you a big smiley thumbs up correct online, so there you go. Okay, Inter-Municipal Collaboration Framework. Charlene?
This is a fairly easy one. We are all aware that we have been, the ICF that would be due normally in April of 2021 has been extended, but it does need to be part of the application, so a motion is needed.
Okay, thank you.
So it's basically a year extension on it.
Yeah, which we got a letter to that effect. Mayor Ruth, make her a motion.
The JFAC support included in the proposed amalgamation application a confirmation that the ICF deadline has been previously extended until April 1st, 2022. If the amalgamation application is submitted, the towns will request an adjusted deadline for an ICF between the new municipality and Foothills County.
Okay, straightforward. Any comments? Cindy, Holiday.
Yeah, I actually don't have a comment on this one, but just a general comment. Does it matter for this January 1st, 2023 date that A, it's a stat holiday, and B, it's a Sunday? Just thinking about our last conversation and a new council being sworn in or any of that, okay, I'm getting some no's.
Yeah, Minister will check that out, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right. Any comments to the motion? All right, all in favor? And that is carried unanimously. All right, thank you. Do we have one more left? Rationale, we have public participation, is that correct? We're good? Jackie, you giving me a thumbs up? Perfect. Okay, if that is all, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to adjourn this meeting. No, we're not going to adjourn, sorry. We're going to go into closed session, sorry. And we're going to have a 5-minute break. And then we will start again. So, that being said, I will call recess.
Okay, Brian Marconi has a waving at you there.
Marconi's got a comment, and so does Charlene. Go ahead, Marconi.
Just for information purposes, how many people were online during our open session? Anybody?
Heather, how many people are online watching tonight?
We have one viewer.
We had one viewer. I think that was my mom. I told her to keep an eye on me. So glad to know she's in Labrador checking me out, you know.
That's good,
so yeah,
because she should be sleeping.
one online.
Okay.
All right. And Charlene, you wanted to comment?
No, I just wanted to say that Councillor Marconi had his hand up.
Okay. Yeah, again, me and Ruth are playing ping pong with the screen up here. So, okay, we're going to have a break at 6:11. We will come back at 6:20. That'll give you 9 minutes, guys. All right. And thank you, Steph, Linda, Loren, for being on hold for that little bit of extra time. Okay, see you soon. All right, everybody, if you want to just start popping back onto your cameras here, we're going to start the recording. Actually, I think our recording has started now.
Yeah.
Some agenda stuff here.
Has Gary Rad returned? I don't have Cindy or Jamie, Brian or Daryl.
Yeah, I'm just having a look here too.
I have, but I didn't want you to watch me eat, so I just kind of went back on, but I'm listening. Thanks for checking there, Mayor Ruth.
You bet. Jamie and Cindy. And Brian.
Daryl's getting settled away.
There we go. There got Jamie.
Good. And Ted, we've got a library meeting tomorrow night as well, don't we?
Brian's here. Just still haven't seen Cindy.
Okay. She's probably eating as well. So we're good to go. All right. We're going to call our recess over and reconvene at 6:22. I'll check for Cindy. All right. Okay. Can I get a motion to go into camera, please? Marconi gives me that. All in favor? Hands up high. Good. Sharon, good. Wilkie, yep. Rab, good. Excellent. Thank you. That's carried. Thank you, Daryl. Gordon. Cindy is still blacked out. Oh, there she is. She came in on a second one. Good stuff. Right on. Yep, she did. Okay, we are all clear to go. Heather, can you confirm cameras off, please? We'll wait for Heather to confirm cameras off.